Hi everybody, Sanibonani, welcome to my channel. Happy 2022. It's the 1st of January 2022. So let's see how we start this year. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyazifunda iy'ncwadi zethu zesiZulu bese siza lana sizokhuluma ngazo iy'ncwadi lezi esiyifundayo. Senzela labo abanqena ukufunda iy'ncwadi nalabo abangenaso isikhathi sokuthi bayifunde. Senza the same thing about ama-reality shows ethiwa la eMzansi, siyawabuka bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo. Senzela abantu abangenaso isikhathi sokuthi bawabuke lama-shows, siphinde nje sidiscuss any other issues that come up when we watch these shows. And it's a new year, it's 2022, guys. So those who love my channel, I'm not gonna stop doing anything that I was doing in 2021. So everything that I was doing in 2021, I'm still going to do in 2022. Kodwa kunezinto ezintsha that I'll be doing, adding to my channel, and also just exploring to see what's any how is the response from the viewers. Some of the things I'll do, and if it doesn't work out, I'll drop. And if some of the things work, then I'll take it forward. But don't worry, I'm always going to do Zulu books. I'm always going to do my reality shows as well. So today, I was actually on Showmax today. Okay, before I forget, I always forget to put someone to subscribe. Hi, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to press the subscribe button, but only if you like the content. Lana stara nabantu who want to be here. So if you don't want to be here, it's okay. You can just watch this one video. But if you like the content, you can press the subscribe button and also bese press the notification bell la elokhuzeni eceleni. Kulabo abathandayo ukuthi content yami ngiyenza ngesiZulu, guys. When I do when I do books and storytelling, I will do that totally in Zulu. But I have to do a little bit of exploring when it comes to other TV shows. So manibona ngikhuluma isingisanyana a little bit here and there is because some of my viewers have requested ukuthi ngenze some videos in English. Since we're trying to grow the channel, there's nothing wrong with that, but kukhona ama-videos that I will still do completely ngesiZulu, so don't worry about it. And so today I was on Showmax because someone had asked me, can I do a show Kelly Khumalo, the reality show Kelly Khumalo? I think it's Lala on, is it on BET? And I've catched a couple of episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes. Angilandelani nakahle. I had watched and I found that show to be interesting, and I like Kelly Khumalo. Unlike a lot of people, I do like Kelly Khumalo. So I was looking for that show actually, but I came across this show. It's also a BET show. It's called Kelly Khumalo in her voice. In her voice, they've actually done it with a couple of other artists as well. I haven't watched it, but I came across this one because I was looking for her reality show. So I just thought it was just a show where she performs and stuff. So I was like, she has nice music. Let me listen to this, and it's like an interview slash performance. So I'm so glad, guys, that I watched it. I'm so glad that I watched it. Please go check it out. There are 3 reasons that you should watch that show. One is if you like Kelly Khumalo. If you like Kelly Khumalo, watch that because you're going to enjoy it. Number 2, if you like her music. There are people who don't really like her, but they like her music. There are people who like her and like her music. If you like her music, you should definitely watch because she does some of her best songs on that show. And also, if you want to know a little bit more about her and about that very thing that everybody wants to know about, which was the armed robbery that happened at that place where Lokuzana, everyone's favorite goalkeeper, was allegedly killed. If you want to know about what her view is on that, because Mina all along I had thought Kelly Khumalo has never said. I was wondering what is her view on that. What does she say happened? Because I had never heard her even on interviews. Her speaking about that incident, and I thought maybe when she does interviews, she asks them, "Don't ask me about this this particular incident because maybe it's a sensitive issue to her, maybe because it's a legal issue, she's not allowed to talk about it. So I really just thought the time will come when Kelly Khumalo will eventually talk about it. Maybe it's not the right time. But I didn't know that she had actually done it because this show is not new. It was done in 2019 and it's still on Showmax. So if you missed it on BET, it's still on Showmax. You might still get it on BET because BET repeats AMA shows a lot. I don't know if it's just for us what we get under a complex because I have a complex. So BET repeats AMA shows a lot, so you must still get it there. But if not, if you've got to Showmax, check it out. Nice music, nice setup. So when she starts with the show, she starts talking about her early days, her introduction to music. And like a lot of us, we were introduced to music through our Dolly Parton because emakhaya bekudlala that cassette ka Dolly Parton is too late, and we would sing along, not even knowing what the words mean. She talks about that. She talks about her first introduction to music was through music Dolly Parton, and then she says ukuthi there's a lady that actually introduced her to a performance at church, and she says ukuthi ene uThembi lokhuzana usisi lowa, and she does a song to honor that lady too. And then she says ukuthi and she's always known that she has a talent, Ulukuzana or Ukele. I think it would be hard to not know that you are talented in music because when you sing, people would usually say, if you she's always known that she was talented. But she didn't know when it was going to happen for her. She wanted to be in the big stages, she wanted to perform, but she didn't know if it was going to happen for her. So she says that when she first heard her song on radio, it was very exciting. But at the same time, after that, it was scary because for her, as much as she was dreaming, but she never really thought it was going to happen. So when it happened, it was more like, what now? It almost like overwhelmed her when it actually happened. And she talks about in the next segment, she talks about how she did that her first big performance at FNB Stadium. It was going to be a big soccer match there. She almost says that performance was almost too big for her career at that time, and she feels that her career didn't grow gradually, and it's almost like one day people didn't know her, and then the next day everybody knew her. So she feels like uh, maningi ama-steps aweqile in growing career yakhe, and so when ifame came, she wasn't prepared for a lot of things that came with ilokhuzana uh, with ilokhuzana ifame. And she says, and then she talks about ilokhuzana, her first experience with bad publicity. And we know Kelly Khumalo has been, I don't want to say queen of bad publicity, but really honestly, amalokuzana, amaphephandaba and stuff have written a lot of negative stories about her. And I'm sure now she's used to it, but she's talking about the first experience where a really negative story had come out about her, how that affected her. She says one day she was at Wimpy and she doesn't know anything. She's just relaxed going there, and this lady just comes to her and says, "Aibo Kelly, have you seen what's on the papers?" And then when they showed her, it was she says, "What's the ititle yelokhuzana on the newspaper said Kelly Khumalo on porn sites." And she talks about how devastated that was because she never thought something like that could happen to her. And at the time, she was new in the industry, so she did not have an understanding that bad publicity comes. It's part of the deal when you are a celebrity. It's part of the deal when you are a non-singer. It's something that was going to happen for the rest of her life. For her, that was the first experience. She talks about how for a lot of days she stayed in the house and angafuni ukuya ndawo because she was scared of the fact that people were talking about her because of that article. And yeah, and it was interesting to know that because we read these articles and share them, but we never really think about how they affect artists and how that can affect a young girl just coming up in her music career. But she does say that a lot of the things that she did earlier on in her career, whether it was negative or positive, she doesn't really have a lot of regrets about it because everything has led to her becoming the person that she is today. And one of the things that she says that people will be surprised to know about her is that she really has, that I've heard her say even in other, she doesn't finish an interview, Kelly, without saying how much her relationship with God is important to her and how much a lot of people don't know that, but she is somebody that has a very close relationship with God. And she does one after that segment. She actually does one gospel song, Jehovah Uhlale Nami, and which is beautiful as well. And after that, the segment that follows is her talking about that very thing that everyone really wants to know. I guess a lot of people already know because I had never seen the show, I had never seen this interview, and I had never heard Okeli say what was her perspective of what happened that day. So she says, number one, when they were robbed at gunpoint, she just notes one thing that she points out one thing that number one, it was the first time that she had seen a gun. She had seen a gun in her life. With that point, I'm assuming that, for an example, I've seen guns on TV. I've seen guns on people, like on police. Men and women when they have them, mabegaxile nje. But I've never had a gun like pointed out at me or just here in a room someone is carrying a gun. I've never had that situation. I assume that she means the same because it's not possible that she had never ever seen something that is a gun. Like she has never seen a gun in her life. So I assumed it was the first time that maybe a gun was pointed at her. She doesn't say that. She just says it was the first time that she had ever seen a gun in her life. And also, she says that there was the first time seeing a gun. It was the first time also seeing someone shot in her presence. She had never seen that. And number three, also, she says that people have to remember she had kids in the house. You know, in that confusing situation, there's a gun, someone is shot, at some point she forgot that she had her children. She said she forgot that she had her children in the house, but then she remembered at some point that, oh no, I have my children here. And she says that when she remembers that, the first thing that came to her is that, you know what, I have to protect my children and I have to protect myself. That's what came to her, which I think really it's a natural would be a natural instinct to any mother in any situation. You're not gonna wanna protect another person when your kids are around because you are first and most responsible for your kids. And following that, you are responsible for yourself because then what would your kids be without you? So if you had to save anybody, you would save your kids and then you will save yourself for your kids. So I thought that made sense. And I think because she was responding to the questions that were asked, even though we couldn't hear, we were just seeing responses only, and we're not hearing the person that is questioning her. She responds to say she doesn't feel guilty about anything on that day because she knows that there wasn't much that she could have done. And she says that. She had no choice but to think about herself first in that moment, and that's what she did. And she says that she had no she has moments where when she's talking to God and she's like, God, I wish I would have done something about that situation. But she also knows that she's not God, you know, whatever happened in that situation, if God couldn't change the situation, how would she have been able to change that situation? So she says that she doesn't feel guilty about because she knows a lot of the things that happened that day she could not have changed, but she has moments where she feels that I wish there was something that I could have done. But she's not feeling like it doesn't sound like she feels like she did something wrong. It doesn't sound like she takes any responsibility for what happened that day. She doesn't feel like it was any of her fault, and she doesn't name people that were there. She doesn't go into details about naming people that were there. She doesn't say who was wrong and who was right. From her answering the question, we just clear on the fact that there were guns, or at least a gun, in that room. We know that someone was shot, and we know that her hands were tied, in a sense that she just felt like she needed to do everything that she can to protect her kids and to protect herself. And I think whatever action that she took that day or that night was to do just that, which was to protect her kids and to protect herself. And it means she was successful because they're here and they are alive. They also ask about people in her life, have people walked in and out of her life as she has had so many struggles. She says no, she doesn't feel like people have abandoned her. She feels that people that have walked out of her life are people that were not meant to be in her life, people that were genuinely there because they loved her, they cared about her, they wanted to support her, have always stayed in her life. And so people that have walked out were never her people anyway. So she doesn't feel like, oh yeah, abantu bangilahlile or whatever. She just feel like abantu abangekho empilweni yakhe right now were never her people, but there are people that have always supported her, and even during the hardest of times. And even now, she says there are so many people that are still rooting for her to be successful. They're still rooting for her to be happy. One thing about this show is that because it was done late 2019, obviously it wouldn't give us a lot about her relationship with Chup Chup, because the recent events that have in their relationship and their co-parenting that we have seen publicly, she wouldn't have been able to answer those questions because those things hadn't happened yet. So, and I don't know if she chose to not speak about that situation with her ex, and even though at the time the recent events hadn't happened, or they just didn't ask her those questions, that's why she didn't talk about them, or she talked about them but they cut them out of the show. But it is an interesting show to watch. It is great music. It's great to watch Kelly Khumalo. I always like to just now and then watch her interviews because umuntu okubhalwa ngayo, and that people say such negative things about them. Sometimes it's good to just watch them to realize that there's always two sides to every story. Sometimes I know people are not what they are presented in the media. She does, because the last song that she does is what's the song that was originally done by Umama Asine, that was originally done by Yvonne Chaka Chaka. She talks about that song because she says, after the event that had happened with the armed robbery, people say that with Asine, I didn't know that Asine, it's actually about a woman that is accused of taking part in killing her husband. And she said that people relate to that song as in it meant that she was admitting to something relating to the armed robbery. And she says the funny thing about that is that she did the song in August, and she says that's a song that has been around for a very long time. It was written by Uchi Kotwala, and it was recorded by Umam Yvonne Chaka Chaka. It was around for a while, and then we know there is a version of that song that Umam Yvonne Chaka Chaka sings. And she says that then Uchiko approached her long before this event took place. This incident took place. Approached her and said to her, "Can you? I want you to redo the song." And she was very happy to do it, and she did the song. That was in August. She says then in October the armed robbery happened, and she says that one of the reasons that she had really liked this song is because it was, she says that earlier on in her life, her aunt, one of her aunts, had gone through the similar situation where her husband was killed. And then afterwards, a lot of people were accusing her of taking part in killing her husband. And she never understood how somebody that had shown so much love to her husband was suddenly a suspect in a murder of the same person that she loved so much. So she said that was one of the reasons she loved that song so much. It had nothing to do with what was going on with her, but only to find out a few months later, it's what 3 months later, something like that happened. So she says people are relating things that don't relate to each other. there was no the reason she did the song has nothing to do with the incident with the armed robbery, and she clarified that situation. It's just a coincidence. She did the song in August. They released the song in August, and in October that's when the whole armed robbery thing happened. So there's no way that that it's related to those two events are related to each other. Yeah, it's a great show, guys. Check it out if you can get it on Showmax. Check it out. It's a great show. It's great music. So yeah, I loved it. I'm one of those people that love Kelly Khumalo. Until something comes up that she did something wrong, I love her and I really just love her music, guys. But not to say that you're not allowed to comment otherwise below. But check out this show. It's a bang. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Don't forget to like the video before you click out of it, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers, those who are interested in um, special needs parenting. Please check out my other channel, Tamil Ledger. That's where I'm going to be sharing a lot of my journey with raising my special needs angel. Thank you so much. Ngithanda kakhulu.